Morning, Joe and the Pro. I'm the Prez. WagerTalk.com. We've got Ralph, the legend himself. That rhymed. Michaels from Cal Sports. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. And let's start with the formalities. How are you, Ralph?
Not much excitement in these playoffs. We're going to be talking about some 3-1 series, but big news is I'm finally jumping into baseball wager talk. I've only used one play so far this season, a winner. I'll be posting plays daily now after the college basketball season. It took me a while to get caught up. So excited to now start doing MLB plays.
Excellent. How did you do last year in baseball?
You know what? I actually hit 53% on very limited games, but it was a nice little run. I stop in September when football's on and they call up the rosters because, again, my first priority is to my football customers, but a nice little run in the middle there.
Excellent, brother. Let's get into it, dude. We got a big day, 4 NBA games tonight. I'm also doing Puck Time with Carmine and Alex today, and we have Teddy Covers on First Pitch. And, well, anybody who watches Teddy and I on radio or TV together, with no disrespect to anybody else, that's pretty much must-watch situation. We just annoy the crap out of each other in the best of ways.
Yeah, and it's not hard to make Teddy very crappy.
Yeah.
You know, comes into the conversation that way anyway. But, having to deal with Teddy and Koken on radio, it's like, oh, my God. Which one had more teeth pulled as a kid, and they're hurting ever since.
It's actually unbelievable, but I love Teddy's demeanor, and I love how miserable he always is. Ralph, let's get to it, my brother. Toronto Raptors closeout game at home, -12 against Orlando. They completely dominated the last game, literally from start to finish. The over and under we have seen come down in the series. It's now at 206. I got to believe Toronto's going to close it out tonight. I can't see Orlando putting up a fight. But 12 points is a lot of points. And the over and under as well is a little bit hard to bet in these elimination games. One thing we see in the hockey playoffs is a team could be down 3-1 with 2 to go. And they pull the goalie, they put their best players on, and they just don't stop until the end. NBA is somewhat the opposite, Ralph. A team like Orlando could be down, 10, 15 points with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and literally just call it a day. I don't know what to do on the total-wise nor on the side. I find this game a little bit tough.
Well, Toronto's gotten there because of their defense. The way they're switching defenses up in the game has just been amazing. They've done a great job. And you look, it held Orlando to 40, 37, 36, and 42 points. The only reason they lost the opener like they did is Orlando shot 48% from three-point land. Magic are averaging 86 points per game the last 3. Like you said, Toronto is a home favorite. Double-digit home favorite, 14-1 straight up, but only 7-8-1 ATS. But their closeout games, they have won them by at least 10 points per game. If I had to play this game, it would be Toronto for me. And again, it would be a correlated parlay with the under because if Toronto wins this game, it's going to be under. If the Magic by chance pull an upset, it's because they shoot 50% from the three, and those games are going to go over anyway.
So really great point, Ralph. Toronto and the under as a parlay play makes a lot of sense. It gets you your 2.6 to 1 odds. I wouldn't do it that way, users. I would, my listening friends, betting 101, make it an if bet and turn it into a 4 to 1 proposition instead of a 2.6 to 1 proposition. And I know a bunch of you don't know what if bets are, but the bottom line is bet Toronto to win -12 and then let your bookmaker know that if they win, roll the entire amount to the under. You turn a 2.6 to 1 parlay into a 4 to 1 parlay. That's true odds. It is way more effective, obviously, as you're getting paid a hell of a lot more money. So run the if bet on this Toronto-Orlando game. Take the Raptors. If they win, throw it to the under. Or, I guess, take Orlando, and if they win, throw it to the over.
Yeah, well, that's the tough part, though. Orlando could still only win. Orlando can lose by 8 or 9 and cover that spread and still not go over. So, if you really are going to get crazy and you think Orlando has a shot, and in these playoffs, there's only been 2 teams that have won the game and not covered, and those were both by half a point. So if you really like Orlando, I would bet a parlay Orlando on the money line with the over, or actually don't ruin it with the over. If you like Orlando, play them on the money line, because again, they're 28-2. The team that wins the game covers the game.
He's Ralph Michaels. I'm the Prez. You're watching Morning Joe and the Pro. Brooklyn, and they looked really good that first game, and subsequently they just cannot keep up with this young Philadelphia team. Philly is minus 8.5 in a closeout situation. The over and under 229.5 has dropped a half point to the under. Ralph, here we have a different scenario than this Toronto-Orlando one. There's a massive difference between 8.5 and 12. I'm sure you have statistics that will show how many games would land between those two numbers, and it is a substantial amount. I like Philly here. I think Brooklyn is in tough, and I think what happens here is 4-9 or 5-9, 6-9 at the end of the game is going to happen very, very quick. So I think Philadelphia might be the play here at minus 8.5.
I agree. I think Brooklyn won game 1 because they came out and they were more physical, and they caught Philadelphia out guard. And I just think that's not going to happen again. Even with Embiid really not 100% healthy, game 1 he still played and had 20 points, but Embiid wasn't physical game 1 because of his foot injury. He came back and he's been the difference maker. And when I read some of the quotes from Brooklyn, Spencer Dinwiddie said, we were right there. We felt like we should have won this game. Well, when you're down 1-3, you had that team at home, you had your chance to win, you lost that chance, and now you're going to Toronto, a team that knows that
Philly,
the team you beat them at home already. I've said it many times. To me, Philadelphia has more talent than any other team besides Golden State. If they learn to use it, they're going to be an excellent team. But we've seen them struggle early. We've seen them still fall behind because they don't have that leadership. Yeah, they have, yes, they have the big men in Simmons and Embiid, but they're still too good, too talented. They got out physical and embarrassed in game 1. That causes this to be a 3-game sweep, a 4-game sweep after that first loss. I like Philly to cover.
Ralph, let's just stop there for a second. I'd like to clarify or at least ask you some questions. Philly is the second most talented team behind Golden State. So let's go through this. Who's their Kawhi Leonard?
Well, that has to be Embiid.
Who's better?
Oh, Kawhi. There's no question.
Okay, Kawhi. So now we've got that. So Embiid is out of it. Who's their Siakam?
Well, that'd be Ben Simmons.
Who's better?
I'll give it to you. That's fine.
Who's their Kyle Lowry?
Kyle Lowry hasn't shit this series.
Okay, who's their Kyle Lowry?
Well, you got to go Jimmy Butler or the Clippers guy they acquired, and I went brain dead for a minute.
Okay, who's better?
Prez,
Okay, so Toronto is a hell of a lot more talented than Philadelphia. Let's move on. Denver minus 5.5 for San Antonio. 2-2 series here. We finally got something going in the NBA first round. Minus 5.5 at home tonight. The over and under is 211. We spoke about this on our NBA pre-game show, and we talked about the fact that the playoff the playoff preview show. Oh my God, Prez. And we spoke about the fact that this was the one series where the dog might win, and that was San Antonio. Denver got back home court. It's their serve. They're minus 5.5. The over and under here is 211. Ralph, I mean, I don't want to sound very square here, but I do lean on Denver. But really, what I like the most in this matchup is over the total of 211. I think we're going to see some scoring tonight, and that in this day and age seems to be a low number. We had that. It went over already. Denver 117 to San Antonio 103. It went over the game before that. It went over the game before that. It's gone over that number 3 games in a row. I see no reason why it doesn't tonight.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's one of my losses, game 2, playing the under. And Denver, Denver did this year. Denver was the best home team. They were 34-7 at home. And the reason they were good at home is because they were playing in altitude and they pressed the pace. They hadn't taken advantage of that home edge a lot of years. This year they did. You look at San Antonio straight up, they're only 16-25 on the road this year. Yes, they got that road win, but that was against a young Denver team learning how to win in the playoffs, and they've now done that. I liked Denver at the beginning of the series, but I thought San Antonio could pull the upset. But I look at the series and say this, San Antonio's played very well. That's why they're 2-2. Denver, Rudy Gay is 4 of 24. He's their three-point expert. 3-pointers, and you split those first 2 games, and now you're back at home, and he's going to put that ball in the hoop. I think the edge goes to Denver because they've underachieved their point guard, too, Jamie Murray. Only 11 points per game in the 2 losses, 24 in the 2 wins. So Denver has played poorly in their 2-2. San Antonio has played well in their 2-2. Best home team in the NBA at a reasonable number. I like the Nuggets.
We're on the same page, my brother. Last game of the night, and there aren't going to be many nights where there's 4 NBA games any longer. This is it. Portland -4. The over and under here is 2-1 against OKC. OKC, one thing that has been exposed, period, is the style that OKC plays. It's just not going to get them anywhere. Russell Westbrook, twice as good as Carmelo Anthony has ever been, exactly the same selfish game. It just doesn't translate into wins. Probably one of the reasons Durant left. And speaking of Durant, I don't know if you've been watching the Golden State series, but man, they could talk till they're blue in the face about Steph Curry. Durant is a beast. When he is on his game, he might be the most unstoppable jump shot shooter we've seen in years.
I can't argue. When he's playing well, he is the best player in the NBA.
It's unbelievable. Anyway, Portland OKC. So we have 221 as the over and under. It went under last game, just a hair. 111 for Portland to 98. The game before that was well over the total. So they are zigzagging on the over and under here. And Portland has a chance to close it out. -4 is a short number in the NBA. I got to think they're going to close it out here, Ralph. It's not like hockey where this bloody frickin' home team keeps losing these closeout game 6s, Vegas, the Leafs, etc. I like Portland here at -4, and I think the series ends by 1:30 a.m. tonight.
I think that Westbrook doesn't get mentioned as a selfish player as much as he should because he always has the triple doubles. And people think if you're giving assists out, that means you're not selfish. Well, that's not true. Westbrook shoots so much that just no one else gets to shoot the ball. If he's triple teamed, he might pass it, if the players on the team make the shot for him, giving an assist. But Westbrook on the season, people are shocked when they found out he shot 42%. He was 42.8% on the season. He is not a good shooter. He shouldn't be taking the most shots. Yes, Paul George might have been hurt, but then you got Paul George, who this series still banged up, shooting 30.8% from three-point land. And I'll tell you this, I think OKC might pull it out, but I can't play him, and here's why. They lost in the first round each of the last 2 years. They now have this in their ears. Can they lose for a third straight time in the first round as an upper seed? They were favored in the series, although didn't have the home court edge. You got to remember, Vegas had them a 150 favorite against Portland. They were the only non-home team to be the series favorite. So you have that pressure on you, and this is going to be a correlated party again, because what Portland did was pack the paint. Portland packs the paint. That makes Westbrook and George shoot from three-pointers. Hi to your wife. And if they pack the paint again and OKC doesn't score, Portland wins, the game goes under. And again, if OKC can shoot the ball and George gets hot from three-pointer, then I think you have, Portland in the under or OKC in the over.
He's Ralph Michaels. I'm the Prez. Morning Joe and the Pro. Talk about, you talk about having something in your ear. The Leafs, Game 7 tonight in Boston. Do you realize they've lost 4 Game 7s in like the last 5 years? 3 of them have been in Boston.
Yeah, that sounds like being an Indians fan.
The pain. And I'll tell you, Ralph, we bet for a living, bro. And I could care less whether the Raptors win tonight or they don't win, whether they cover or they don't cover. I could care less about the Blue Jays. If they go 0-162, that's fine by me. I am such a diehard Leaf fan that it actually supersedes all my betting. It's the only thing sports-wise in my life, other than maybe the Olympics, that I find pure. You know what I mean by that. I don't know if I actually have the emotional wherewithal to get through tonight's hockey game.
Oh, come on, Prez. It's going to be fun.
Dude, I watched Game 5 when they were in Boston, tied 2-2. I couldn't lean back. My head were in my hands. I was pacing, and I hated the entire experience. I'm going to lose my shit tonight, but I'm going to be with my woman Viv, and looks like I'll be hanging out with Carmine. But nothing is more important than the Leafs winning tonight.
Well, there have been, I'm looking this up as we go, there have been 179 Game 7s in the NHL playoffs. The home team has won 117 or 58%. The road team has won 43.5% of those games.
Wait, I want to write that. Can you email that to me right now, please?
Well.
And then when you people listen on Puck Time, when I say that, it's not a Ralph Michaels trend. I actually emailed it to him. He said it on this show and is emailing it back to me. He's Ralph. I'm the Prez. That's Morning Joe and the Pro. Brother, you want to do some baseball or you want to wait a few more weeks?
Oh, I'm okay. We did it last week. Fill me in whenever you need this week. That's fine.
Okay, my friend. You're the best, and we'll speak to you later. Thanks for being with us. Ralph Michaels from Cal Sports Home, WagerTalk.com.
Thanks, Prez.